Welcome to
Kavana,
the podcast where we cover every issue under the sun
and are ready to tackle any questions or issues
in everyday young adult life.
My nose is burning. I just got rum up my nose.
That was a really good start. Okay, let's get into this after all.
Starting shot didn't work out as well as I planned.
No. All right, jumping into podcast. What is this, number 3? I think.
Number 3.
Three. I'm holding up 2 fingers to Visaria, not
Count,
3.
bitch.
That was not 3 fingers. Anyway. No, this is better 3 fingers. Okay, so on our third one, let's get into this. We are going to talk about Pride. Which is basically, Visaria went to a Pride, what was it? Party?
So yeah, a museum in our town hosts an event once a month where it's basically like an evening cocktail party type thing for adults. You know, you can go party, there's loud music, you can basically like go clubbing and drink, and you can also look around the museum. So it was a really fun experience, and every month they have a new theme, and the last one I went to, it was a Pride theme. So they had rainbows everywhere, they had drag performances, which were amazing, and they just, like, they had, you know, people with, like, huge flamboyant outfits dancing around and, like, glowing in the drag. It was amazing. It was such a fun event.
You had a good time, yeah.
I had such a good time.
And you did amazing makeup, which I'll probably show for the video version of this.
I did my bi flag eyeshadow.
It's gonna be great, yeah. And then I think for me, I went through a Pride parade a few years back.
Yeah.
Or a year back or a few years back. I can't remember. But it was one of the summers, and we got to go with one of the parties, and I went with my aunt and my mom. And it was the first time where I suddenly felt really good about it. Because when we hit the front of the parade at one point, and you're walking, and there's a little bit of space, and everyone's cheering along the sides, and you suddenly feel so accepted. It was almost like I wanted to cry. And it was a really weird time, because it was when I was trying to figure out if I was more gay than bi or not, that kind of thing. But it felt like it was very accepting no matter what you were, for at least for me in that experience, that time. So it was a good time. It really helped with kind of the accepting of it, and
Bi erasure. How, like, straight people and gay people are both like, oh, pick a side. You know?
Oh yeah,
that's just a
that's
thing.
my thing. Because that was kind of segues into that, is that
we can talk back to the events. I just wanted to.
No, that was pretty much the event, but it was basically like, when you first explain it, it was like when you first kind of tell people, which is the next thing. Like, I talked to my parents, and I wasn't sure how they were going to take it, and I was seeing a girl at the time, and I wasn't sure. Like, I do very much prefer relationships with girls, but I don't mind relationship with the right guy either. That was the difference, but it was really hard for, at least I think, like, my parents do understand at first that I could understand both. Like, I could like both. It was depending on the person, and it was hard for me as well. And I think, if anything, it's very hard when it's the gay side, but also at least you're a little bit more sure. Whereas with the bi-curious thing, or just being bi and realizing you like both, it's a lot harder, because you're like, am I just being curious, or is it that I really do like both? But I found when I'm with one, I kind of miss the other, or, you know, vice versa, that kind of thing.
I know, I never actually came out to my parents yet. I tried dropping hints to my mom at some point, and she seemed like she just wanted to, like, change the subject and didn't want to get into it, so I haven't. But I have come out to, like, all my friends. I came out at school, and even a couple family members, and when I first came out, I remember I came out to my cousin, and then she told her parents, and her dad goes, well, how do you know you like girls? Have you ever been with a girl? Like, how do you know? And I'm like, how do you know you like girls? Like, how do you know you like girls?
Oh,
He's like, oh, well, I'm married to one. I'm like, okay, how do you know you don't like boys? And he's like, because I just don't like boys. And I'm like, well, I just like girls.
Well, there you go. Well, that's just the thing, and I think my parents were very understanding. My mom actually said she already knew, and my brother didn't care, and then my dad, he seemed to react really bad when I first told him, but we were in public at like a restaurant. There was like a buffet, and he was choking on a sesame seed roll or like ball. And then we came home, and I felt so bad. And then the next morning, I woke up, and he had a bunch of roses for me. So,
oh, that's adorable. I actually totally forgot about this until you mentioned when you told your brother. But I remember when I told my brother, I walk into his room, and I'm like, by the way, I'm bi. And he looks at me, and he goes, ew. And then back to his computer, to whatever he was doing. So I just walked into my room, and was like, all right, well, that didn't go as planned.
Yeah. But I mean, I lost a friend over that too. Not that she was a good friend, but it was like the first time I realized people will just stop talking to you because I knew that she could be homophobic. Mm-hmm. And I dated a lot of girls on and off. And I think it's the problem too with girls though is that you can't tell. Like, a lot of girls are just experimenting and they act like they want to be with you, and then they change on a dime, or you get invested and they change.
I felt that in high school. There was one girl I had a huge crush on, and like she was one of the first people I even came out to, and she would flirt with me, and she told me she was bi-curious and that she wanted to kind of explore things further with me, and then kind of like turn around the next day and was like, no, ew.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was kind of hurtful, but
yeah, I've had that too. I got invested and then things break up, but I've also had a relationship with a girl where it meant a lot to me. It took me a really long time to get over, and I think it's still something that affects me for sure, and that kind of changes things. And you realize that you care. But I think I knew even when I was younger. Even when I was a little kid, I was having dreams about other girls. Like I was being with a girl. And but I thought it was terrible. I thought it was bad. That was the thing.
As a kid, I had the biggest crush on Shigo from Kim Possible.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I just thought she was so hot and so badass. Like, I loved her, like, attitude. Yeah. Just, like, I loved Shigo.
I loved the both of them. I really like Kim and I like Shigo for sure.
I liked Kim, but I liked Shigo a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, Shigo was pretty awesome. She really was, yeah.
Oh, God. Who was another, like, girl I had, like, TV girl that I had a crush on?
I knew that I was in love with Scarlett Johansson for sure. That was a
Scarlett doesn't do it for me. I never really found the attraction in Scarlett Johansson.
It was for me, but it's different people, different
Karen Gillan, on the other hand,
really?
Now I would have her sit on my face any day.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Sorry, was that too graphic?
We should rate this. This is an adult podcast, if that wasn't clear.
Oh yeah, I can't do clean podcasts.
Yeah, no, family friendly.
Fuck your
Chandler.
family friendly.
But yeah, I found that video, by the way. Turns out it was in my drafts on my computer. We didn't lose it forever. The Watson Scott one where we were laughing our butts off.
Yes.
Please note that typically only 13% of participants are able to complete the test. I'm totally going to complete it. Challenge accepted. Due to the onset of total body paralysis or unanticipated cardiac arrest. Why does this game want to kill me? Do you wish to continue? Fuck.
I just want to kill you. That's really what it is. I shouldn't record.
I mean, I guess this is my death wish.
See, you just agree with me. You don't question things.
I mean, you've only steered me wrong a couple times.
A couple times.
In the, 10 years I've known you, things have only gone wrong.
I think you steer me wrong more, is what it is.
So that's what I'm going to do. Now that reminds me just now, because we had that moment. We are also doing games, because I'm actually editing the Gang Beasts thing that we did. And we did a Watson Scott horror game, but we ended up being really funny in that one. I really, really liked it, and I thought I had lost it forever. So another thing to keep an eye out. We do want to post these on iTunes. Maybe if we're lucky, you're hearing that there. But we also post them on YouTube, or we're just going to keep posting them here. So we'll have sort of video edited editions, so there'll be extra stuff that will show up on screen, whereas with iTunes you only hear it.
Yeah.
So that'll be the extra stuff on YouTube under Wonderlander. But we will also be posting some games by Kavana as well. Oh gosh, sorry, we are still sick. So I think we can probably jump into the word game a bit early here since we're running out of steam.
Before we do, I don't know if you can edit this when we were talking about how when you lost your friend there.
Yeah. Or we could just jump back. We were running out of steam. I was like, maybe we need our break, and then we'll put in the word game and go back to the other stuff. But what it reminded you, because we still have time.
Yeah. Just quick little story. Back in high school, I remember when I first came out, I was friends with this girl. I didn't have a crush on her or anything. It was nothing like between us. She was just a really good friend of mine. She was one of the first friends that I made at St. Matt's. And I had heard from another friend that she had said very shortly after I came out that did I mention she was a very religious friend?
No. Well, St. Matt's was a Catholic school,
I think you know who I'm talking about.
I think you've mentioned her to me before.
You're the reason that we met actually at your birthday party.
Oh, yes.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yes.
So yeah, I had this friend, very religious friend, and right after I came out, she's like, I don't know if I can be friends with her anymore. Like, she goes against my beliefs.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I remember you texted me. Speaking of, we're mentioning all of this. How did we tell each other? You texted me before I even told you that I felt a certain way.
Yeah.
You were the first one to come out and be like, and you just texted me and were like, I'm bi. Because I'm pretty sure I remember looking at the message. You texted me, because I remember looking at the message on my shitty old phone. And I just said Visaria, and it was like, bi. And I just looked at it and went, okay, whatever. Cool. And I don't even know when I texted you back. I know I didn't care.
I also remember back when you lived above the roundabout. We were at the park and we were talking about it, and I was like complaining about how I was losing all these friends and like girls kind of didn't really want to be friends with me anymore, have sleepovers, and I was like, listen, just because I like girls doesn't mean I like you.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of them think that.
Yep.
Or even I've heard from gay guys as well. That then their friends are like, oh, do you like me? And it's like, a lot of them are like, no. You're a friend for a reason. Like, of course not. Yeah, a lot of times it's not that we like you. It's just, we're just telling you as a preface. Because people don't have to come out as straight. Yeah. But you have to make it known that you can be both ways. Or especially since I had a lot more experience of dating girls a lot more. It became a bigger thing, for sure.
I just remember one day being, like, sick of kind of, like, nobody really knowing and just, like, basically feeling like I was hiding even though I had never really expressed that I was straight or anything. Yeah. I just kind of got fed up, and I remember texting, like, all of my closest friends, and I think I, like, came out in a Facebook status.
Just my reminder. So, yeah, you came out in a Facebook status?
It was a, like, only open to specific people. Like, I hid that status from family because I knew it would, stir some pots I didn't want stirring. And that's why, like, there's still a lot of family that don't know to this day. And I will probably never tell them just because I don't see them, it doesn't matter. Anyway, they're not close enough family.
But you're also in a very stable relationship with a guy, so it wouldn't really come up unless things change.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was just the thing, right? My whole family didn't care. Like, I just got lucky. Like, even my old nanny and grandma didn't care. A lot of them seem to completely forget. Like, even my immediate family forgets. It's like, when you get married to a guy or something, which, marriage is a whole other thing, by the way. That I could get into and be like, no. But yeah, no, it is what it is, for sure. But there's, like I was saying, there's a lot more we can debate now that we've come up and we've talked ourselves through. But I'll add us the word game and lighten up some things, and then we'll go into what I think is going to be a few topics that will really get us both to debate for a little while that we'll talk about. So, right on to our little break of the word game.
Time for the word game. We pick a theme and each take turns saying a word that relates to that theme. Your job is to guess the theme based on the words we're saying.
Cats.
Dogs.
Hamster.
Mouse.
Rat.
Crocodile.
Bird.
Snake.
Alligator.
Unicorn.
Frog. Also, unicorns don't exist.
Excuse you, first of all, and second of all, unicorn is the national animal of Ireland, so suck it.
Okay. Well, next.
Horse.
Sheep.
My brother.
I'll give it to you. A goat.
Our brothers, basically. Raccoon.
Cow.
Pig.
That's what I was gonna say next. You're such a bitch.
Chicken.
Rooster.
What are they called? Anteater.
Shark.
Whale.
Pufferfish.
Goldfish.
Dolphin.
Loch Ness Monster.
Dinosaur.
They're both possible, okay?
Dinosaurs we have fossils of.
Yeah, and there could have been a Loch Ness Monster,
Okay.
and there could still be one.
Okay, well, I'm a dinosaur. Next.
Why am I? It's just animals.
Right? I don't know. Why can't you think of an animal?
Zebra.
I just had like 3 of them in my head. Fucking turtle.
Buffalo.
Ram.
Lion.
A bull.
Tiger.
Cougar.
Mountain cat.
Panther.
Are they even real?
Yeah.
Flamingo.
Cheetah.
Love flamingos. How did I not think of them? Ostrich.
Hyena.
Peacock.
A robin.
Blue jay.
Fox. Have you not said fox before?
I know. That's what I mean. You get so into the moment, so you forget. Mammal, or not mammal, mammoth, mammoth.
Elephant.
Sloth.
Saber-toothed tiger.
Okay. Parrot.
A cockatoo.
I was thinking. But I was like, is it the right word though? Wolf.
Oh, what do they call it? Coyotes.
Oh god. Jeez, I'm just thinking of pets now. Like I was gonna say spider because I've seen someone with a spider.
That's not
It's
an animal, it's
insect.
an arachnid. It's not even an insect, it's an arachnid.
Whatever. Pony.
It's just a little horse, but okay.
Excuse you, they're different. Don't discriminate.
Antelope.
Dove.
Deer.
Moose.
Caribou.
Falcon.
Joy, did you want that wrong here? Because I know you're going to bed soon.
Okay, yeah. Eagle. Don't worry about it. I have my roach.
What the fuck is happening?
Rabbit.
I already said rabbit.
Yeah,
you
but
lose.
it's 2 different. No, you said bunny.
You're splitting hairs, man.
Nah, another fucking rabbit. Good one.
Okay, here we go. So, moving on from the word game, a game we hope you love as much as us, where we just drink and play the word game. It's a great time. But we're back with Pride. So, we were going to mention, one of the things that came to mind that I was writing a note for, was when I was dating a girl, we used to walk hand in hand and people would honk at us and we were still getting looks and people saying things, and it was like, you think that times have changed, but they really haven't. There's well, it's not as bad as it used to be, but there's still definitely a lot of prejudice or people like
yeah.
watching and picking
Like,
on it. Yeah.
People still get beat up for this shit, and I just think that's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, for sure, and that's just the thing, and then that's what makes you more nervous going out, and I think it's even worse for like men though. They get it a lot, which goes into what you were talking about, which is stereotypes, where they also very much stereotype, oh, it's hot for two women to be together, but
it's
two men
for two men to be together. That's
yeah, and they actually stand a straight risk of a straight risk.
Pun intended.
They actually stand a risk of being attacked. Right? So, but I have to say, there was a commercial I absolutely loved. It reminds me of now, where it was about tea, and I ended up really liking Red Rose tea because they had that just heartwarming commercial about this girl coming home, showing her girlfriend, and being like, "This is my girlfriend," and the dad leaves, and she's all nervous, and then he comes back with 2 teas.
Thanks, Dad.
I didn't know you're having a friend over.
Dad, this is Amy. She's not just a friend. She's my girlfriend.
Hi, Amy. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
And I was like, why am I like tearing up right now over a commercial for Red Rose tea? So again, still not sponsored by anybody, but I guess there you go, Red Rose tea.
There was also a Gillette commercial.
Was there?
That had come out.
I might throw that in. I'll show the Red Rose commercial. But so yeah, again, we have our video edits and then our just audio edits. But yeah, the Red Rose tea was.
Yeah, there was also a Gillette commercial, and after it had come out, people were commenting like, "Oh, I'm ashamed of Gillette. How could you let this be in your commercial? I will never be using your product again." Blah blah blah. And Gillette just shot back. Sorry, I have to take a pause here because I have to find it.
But yeah, it was amazing. I really ended up liking that commercial. And but yeah, it would show up on YouTube, and I was like, wow, this is reminding me of my dad and myself and everything. And what a beautiful, smooth way to go about that whole situation. And it was just a really nice commercial, so I'll probably insert that. But
so the Gillette commercial was actually about a man teaching his transgender son how to shave.
Growing up, I was always trying to figure out what kind of man I wanted to become, and I'm still trying to figure out what kind of man that I want to become. I always knew I was different. I didn't know that there was a term for the type of person that I was. I went into my transition just wanting to be happy. I'm glad I'm at the point where I'm able to shave. South, south, north, north, east, west, never in a hurry. Yeah. Right.
One. Now, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Shaving is about being confident. Oh, you're doing fine. You are doing fine.
I'm at the point in my manhood where I'm actually happy. It's not just myself transitioning, it's everybody around me transitioning.
And I can't seem to find it, but I remember seeing a post, I think it was a Twitter post, and people were commenting saying, like, I'll never use Gillette again, blah, blah, blah. And they just shot back, like, stick with your rusty old razor in your old times, or, like, I can't remember what the exact quote was.
But I mean, I'd be like,
yeah, it was funny.
I mean, my only thing with Gillette would be the expense of some of these razors and the fact that women's razors are shittier than men's razors.
Oh, yeah.
And the price difference.
We have a pink tax. Our products are worse, yet they cost more. What the hell is this?
And our haircuts, if you just get a trim.
Oh,
but we should save that for men versus women. We are going to talk about that. We're going to have a whole podcast debating men versus women. That's on our list of things to talk about.
Fun sexist podcast.
Yeah, I have it on the list. That's coming up next, so you guys can look out for that.
Keep watching.
But the other thing we wanted to talk about before we go too late is...
Keep listening, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Incentives. Want to hear that one? Pedophiles. Wanted to be a part of the LGBT, I guess Q now, it's LGBTQ.
LGBTQ? What's the Q for? Queer. Questioning?
I think it might be queer.
I've heard mixed
I mean, they've added so many, like, I'm not against, like, be what you want to be, but my goodness, they've added a lot of labels for people. Yeah. I have to say. And there's a lot of different gender, you can label yourself as so many genders now. There's like over 1,000 genders somehow.
Bi, gender, like, gender neutral, gender queer, non-binary.
I'm like, be what you live and let live, but I just don't understand, you know, being a dragon. Like, to be fair.
I have seen a news
even then, they can be male or female.
Yeah, I saw a video where this couple, it was a girl and a guy, and it was a cat and a cat because they identified as cats.
Oh, I see.
And I'm not kidding you, in the middle of their interview...
But you can still be a girl or a guy.
In the middle of their interview, they would turn to each other, meow at each other like they were having their own conversation, and then turn back to the camera and talk like regular humans.
I mean, to be fair, if you're so close with someone that you can meow at them and they know what you mean... But I mean, it's kind of hilarious and amazing. It's kind of beautiful. But I have to say, I mean, you and I have also literally, like, we've gone to parties or things or, like, classes. And I remember I would look over at you and shoot you a look, and you were shooting me the same look, and we both knew. We were like, this is shitty, let's leave. Like, there was certain, you know, like, there were certain looks. Where we'd be like, this place sucks. Or there's a certain look
where it's just like, girl, you need to shut up now.
Yeah, there'd be times,
Or that help me look.
I've shot you the help me look. I've been talking about something, or I get angry, because Viseria is very chill. So it's like, I'll get angry, and then she'll look at me, and like I get this look from V, kind of like, girl.
Yeah, I'll just do like the one eyebrow raise kind of thing. Just like...
It'll look like it's time to shut up. And it ends up really pausing me in my tracks, though. And I think... There's been times, too, when you've said something or doing something, and I've kind of given you a look like, we should bounce now. Like, yeah, like, but I appreciate, like, that, which is what I've said before. It's nice having a friend like that. But, I don't know, maybe their meowing is their, I mean, it's kind of a talent, in a way.
But, we deviated a little bit from pedophiles wanting to edge their way into the LGBT community. I first read about this sometime last year.
Yeah.
I think it was about a year ago I first read about how pedophiles are trying to wedge their way into the LGBT community, how it somehow correlates in any way, which it doesn't. They even tried making their own flag, and
there's a magazine, too, that tried to do a profile of a pedophile and explain it, because they're like, it's a type of sexual orientation.
No.
I was like, no, it should not ever be accepted. It's very different, and what an insult, too, to gay and bi people.
I know. Like, that we would accept something so disgusting.
It's so vile. And it's like, either behind, like, they have to literally put them in special places in prison, just because if they put them in general population, people would kill them.
So put them in Gen Pop.
They actually did do it. They started putting them in special... You didn't know this? They
no,
put them
I
in
didn't.
Special areas because in Gen Pop they're being killed.
The only special area they deserve is a special place in hell where they will get tortured. Oh my god, my stutter.
Yeah, they had to start putting them in special places because in Gen Pop they were being attacked.
So let them keep getting attacked in Gen Pop. They belong behind bars getting like, beat up by Gen Pop, or they belong 6 feet under.
Because it's like, even in a crime-infested, jail, the men there, or females or whatever, are still attacking them because it doesn't, like, it's another sadistic level. Like, I am against, just murdering people cold blood, or as much as you sometimes like to, or stealing a lot of money, or whatever. But the fact that a murderer and a thief can come together and be like, you're horrible because you attacked a child, and beat the shit out of you. Like, it's such a vile thing to do. So, you know.
Yeah. So, if any pedophiles are listening, we don't want you as part of the LGBT community. We want you in a hole.
Yeah.
6 feet under.
I'm not, like, I tend to not like being so openly aggressive and cutting people out, but you are out. That's it out.
I'm usually openly aggressive and
but things change for you too. Like, you had a daughter as well. It's like, I can't imagine seeing it that way. I still find it vile, but it's like
I can't
imagine
God,
with a kid.
If anyone laid a finger on my daughter, I'd be attacking them personally.
I mean, but I would be right there with you, right? So it definitely changed when you brought your daughter into the mix. For sure. But I think that's just the thing.
You don't belong in our community.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I think that magazine got some flack for trying to act like they did.
Good. Do you remember which magazine it was?
I don't remember which magazine it was.
You should figure it out so we can boycott it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's majority of what we wanted to talk about. Really, that covers a lot of what we wanted to discuss.
No, we still had stereotypes.
Or did you want to talk about... Well, we covered stereotypes a bit. Was there more you wanted to say about it?
Well, there was... there's this one bi stereotype that I see a lot on social media.
You mentioned that to me. Yeah, okay.
Apparently, bis can't sit straight.
Oh, yeah.
We're always, like, crossing our legs.
I was really defensive at first, and then she explained it to me, and I was like,
whether it's just, like, sitting with your legs crossed, or, like, both of your feet up on the chair crossed, or, like, leaning sideways with your arm up on the back of the chair. Like, bis cannot sit straight with your feet on the floor, back, like... So if you can't sit straight on a city bus or on your couch at home, I hate to break it to you, but hun, you're bi.
Apparently. This is such a stereotype to make.
It's a very... Apparently, it's a very common stereotype among the bi community.
It's such a huge stereotype to make. Some people just sit a certain way.
But it's
you know,
accurate in my experience.
I mean,
most people
that
I know that like cannot sit straight, like myself included.
Oh yeah, I do that. Well, on the bus, like I'm always sitting with one leg up on some sort of banister, like ledge or whatever. But, I wouldn't say everyone, but
I'm usually like sideways somehow, taking up 2 seats with my feet.
Oh,
and, like,
I try not to do that, but like it's like it goes into the whole man spreading thing. But I was like, that was so stupid. I'm like, it was women who are pissed, and I'm like, there's a dick between their legs, woman.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
And balls. Like, you don't want to squish those between thighs. Like, we don't have dicks.
They did it on BuzzFeed, and then they had the women go on the bus and like, oh, we're gonna man spread too, and they had their legs taking up like 3 seats. I'm like, no. The man that I've seen, like, yes, okay, on occasion there is a man who is man spreading and putting his bag on the other seat, and he's purposely taking up like 2 to 3 seats. Like, screw
that
you.
Guy's a dick.
But when you're telling me because they sit with their legs open, I'm like,
that's just because they have very sensitive junk that they don't want to sit on. Like,
I'm like, how many times has someone like elbowed you in the boob by accident, or you're squeezing through a narrow place and your boobs get pushed? It hurts at certain times.
Yeah, and like I have seen my boyfriend tear up from accidentally sitting on his balls, okay?
Yeah, like, you know, I'm with you 100%. But again, we really have to do the men versus women next, because we have so much to say about it. But anyway, for the stereotypes, for sure. And then, well, thing too, when they're like, oh, gay men would be so high-pitched and feminine. There are some that are not.
Yeah.
There's really, or like, lesbians are really butch. And it's like, well, no, not all of them are.
There's some butch and there's some femme. And then there's some people like me who are way in between. Some days I'm super femme. I got the floral dress on and the makeup and the whatever. And other days I am totally butch. I'm like, I don't even want to be called a girl at this point.
Well, yeah, and there's some where it's butch or the flowery types who like each other that way. They like the Often brand. Or it's like, they said women with like short hair or in ponytails. I'm like, no, like, come on. You know? But yeah, I don't know. Those were some of the stereotypes I think that we were thinking of.
Yeah. I think the last thing we wanted to touch on was bi erasure. Have you ever experienced bi erasure?
That was, having to pick a side.
Yeah.
Right? I think my parents, like I said before, my parents were kind of confused, and they assumed it had to be one or the other.
I've definitely experienced it a lot, both from the straight community and the gay community. Gays are, especially because I am usually in a passing relationship. I'm a bit of a lazy dater, so I just date whatever guys in front of me. I don't really I've always found it really hard finding a girl.
And it is a lot harder. It is a lot harder.
Especially because I've had such negative experiences coming out and telling people that I like girls.
Yeah.
It's always just been easier for me to settle for a guy.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm settling for my current relationship because I love him. He's a sweetheart.
But it's
but I've definitely experienced it from both ends where gays or lesbians, because I'm in a passing relationship, they're like, "Oh, you can't be a part of our community because you're in a straight passing relationship." And I'm like, I might be in a straight passing relationship currently, but that doesn't take away the fact that I still like girls.
Yep.
That I'm still bi, and I've experienced a lot of bi erasure, and also from straight people just being like, pick a side. Are you straight or are you gay? I'm neither. I'm bi. I'm somewhere in between.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time in life we spend a lot of our time in between. It's whatever.
I find there's
be
a lot
who you
of...
want to be, and I think you said that it really stuck with you the same way it stuck with me when my parents mentioned it, which was live and let live. Just let people live and let live, because it literally means you can leave people alone to live their life, and they should do the same for you, but you do have a right to get involved if they get involved in your life. Yeah. If someone's attacking you or being mean to you or something like that, then you do have a right. It's not saying you should just always be passive. It's just saying live and let live until, someone gets in your face, then you have a right to get in theirs. But, that's pretty much, that's the whole week of it, for sure.
Yeah. I just know there's a lot of gatekeeping for the guys, where straights don't want us because we're not straight, gays don't want us because we're not entirely gay, and...
Well, but it's changed a lot, too. Now transgender people are taking over more of it, because it was if you notice the Pride Center at Algonquin, it's pretty much all just transgender now. Really? There isn't even much respect for just being gay anymore.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know there was a Pride Center at Algonquin until just now when you mentioned it. Tell me about this Pride Center at our college.
There's supposed to be a Pride Center. It's a small room, and they didn't even seem really happy with me being there, because I was a journalist, but also because I was coming in just to be there. And it was very focused on transgender, and they have events, but it's really focused on transgender. And I'm not trying to be against them, but it's pretty much the whole LGBT, pride, anything to do with having respect for those. They jump right to transgender, and gay and lesbian are being completely thrown off, and bi. No one cares. You're different if you're transgender, otherwise there's no sport for you. Yeah. You're not a big enough problem or deal. Kim Possible's being contacted.
Can you tell I was obsessed with it as a child? That's the second little mention of Kim Possible. Yeah.
I've just got the Mario coins as a ding for my text messages.
I can understand how there's a lot of focus is being shifted towards transgender, because it's they are... The LGBT community has come a long way in the fact that gays and lesbians and even bis, they're being more and more accepted, Yeah. Gay marriage was legalized in the States. It's been legalized in Canada a hell of a lot longer, but big thing that happened in the world, it was recently legalized in the States. And the general population has been more accepting of gays and lesbians and even bis, despite the bi erasure. But transgender people, I've actually heard of a lot of stories of medical professionals, police officers, and paramedics literally refusing to help them because they're transgender. Wow. And their lives are the cost of these prejudiced people. And
I still think the Pride Center should be what they started off as. For people to feel left out is
I agree. It should be a community for everyone. Yeah. But I understand why the focus right now is heavily transgender, because they are facing a lot of very big issues right now.
Yeah.
Well,
I think what I heard too is that a lot of the time with transgender, people are confusing it a lot. They end up... If transgender, people are saying being transgender at all is a mental health. I don't think it's necessarily that. I think that some of them are, though, because there was a lot of suicide rates after they got the change. So it's basically like something bad would happen in their life, and then they needed to change, or they were mental health, and then they would take over the transgender side, but they weren't really fitting into it. So I think that's where people started putting those people with the other transgender people.
Was that because they regretted their operation, or they regretted it, or was that because they faced so much more prejudice afterwards?
There was a lot of they regretted it. They didn't want it.
Interesting. I read a lot of the opposite, where the majority actually don't regret it. They're a lot happier with their lives after the operation. Well, I was actually talked to about it by someone else, but I also had a transgender coworker and heard about it from her. She also felt that there were people in the transgender community who were not actually completely transgender. They were just had mental health. And that was coming from them. So, I mean, that's not just me speaking out of my ass. I'm not transgender, and I don't have a lot of transgender friends, so I can't really speak on their behalf.
But I had a transgender who had said that to me. That she had felt that had been happening. So it's not just coming from me. It was actually established there are some who have like a mental health thing and some who actually are. And my coworker who was transgender had experienced that some of them were just mental health. And she also noticed that they made the change and then regretted it.
But that's not saying that being transgender is a mental health issue. That's just saying that people with mental health are making poor decisions. And
some of them like take it over. As in, like, they need this big change and they go through something different. So I think there are two different sides of the coin. I think we should always live and let live, be open to people, and try to be there for people as much as you can. But there's only so much you can do, and you don't know what's happening with everybody's life.
Yeah.
That would be what I would say. So we're at a 20-minute mark. My goodness, we end up really... I was worried like we were tapering off in the beginning, and then we just started... I knew we would get into topics where we debate and just go on and on and on. So I think what we need to do next is probably... It's like we set things up ahead of time, but then we start talking, and I realized what we should actually maybe do next. And I think it's probably like men versus women. Attractive.
Yeah. Oh my god, I did that
we
so
always
much
say that
in
and
elementary school. I would be in the middle of class, I'd let out the biggest belch, and then I would just smile and say, attractive.
Yeah, and I started picking it up every time she burps. Now it's attractive.
Or that was hot.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was a llama or a what do they call a sheep for a minute there. But anyway, we're going on. That is going to be the end. We're going to wrap things up because we're going on and on and on. But we will be back soon. We are thinking of posting regularly every Tuesday now.
Yes.
So that will be our next thing.
It's our birthday.
It's our week birthday.
Weekly birthday.
Yeah, Visseria and I found out that we were both born on a Tuesday. Completely different day, different month, but we were both born on a Tuesday.
Different year even.
Different year, but somehow we were both born on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we will have regular posts on Tuesday.
Tuesdays are our days, bitches.
Tuesdays are our days. Anyway, so thank you.
We expect gifts every Tuesday.
Yeah, no. So thank you so much for watching or listening, and hopefully, well, you might be watching. Hopefully we could do more with this. We'll probably update you on what we're going to be doing. But that's going to wrap it up.
Whether you're watching, listening, or have us on in the background while you're playing on your phone, we don't care. Come back next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday with Kavana.
Yep.
I think...
Oh, right. That's a wrap. Thanks for watching, and tune in later for another episode of Kavana.
If you like us here on Kavana, subscribe to our podcast or channel. Feel free to send us comments, questions, and suggestions, either on YouTube, Wonderlander, or the email xxwonderlanderxx@gmail.com.